Hello, my name is Harry Hinshaw of Enhanced Healing Counseling, and I'd like to talk with you about the counseling process that I utilize now called transformation. Transformation is a counseling process, a program that I've been working on for the last 15, 20 years. And it works on helping people to change how they think. The whole purpose is on cognition, helping people to think better about themselves, about life, and things in general. The premise is that if you change your thinking, you can literally change your life. Well, transformation is built on certain principles, what I refer to as thought processes. And today, what I would like to do is to briefly go over these thought processes and read to you some of the information that I encourage people to focus on, study, and even say and repeat daily. The first principle that transformation starts out with is about responsibility. And the statement is, I am responsible for all my experiences. And when we take responsibility for our life, we are unable to play victim. We have difficulties blaming people. In fact, we don't. But I am responsible gives us the power to actually transform our life. And one of the phrases that I encourage people to read and study is on a document that is entitled 10 Principles of Transformation for Addiction Recovery. And it's an article that people can get from emailing me after this presentation and requesting it, and I can email you it back in its total. The first one reads this way: I am responsible for all my experiences. I am responsible for everything that I think, believe, say, feel, do, and experience throughout my day and life. I recognize that I am responsible for all my thoughts, particularly the negative ones that I have created and continue to think about myself, impacting my sense of value and worth as a human being and contributing to the negative self-image. I create all my thoughts and beliefs about myself, both positive and negative. And depending upon which I choose to think, determines the life I experience from moment to moment. It's a very, very powerful concept for people to wrap their head around and accept and actually start to live. The second principle of transformation has to do with choice. I choose all of my experiences. Choice is an extremely powerful process that brings the concept of responsibility down very close to the person. It makes it very real. I'm choosing everything in my life. And as I believe, God gave us a thing called free will. So with free will, we get to choose whatever it is that we want to choose, whether it's positive or negative. Obviously, there are consequences for either one of them. The reading that I encourage people to do when they're studying this principle goes like this. I choose all my experiences. I choose everything I think, believe, say, feel, do, and as a result, what I experience every day of my life. I have the free will to choose what I think and experience. I have chosen to think about and act upon the negative thoughts I have created about my value and worth as a human being, which determines my negative self-image. I must stay aware of the thoughts I consciously create and think about and their consequences, and choose only positive thoughts to experience. I choose to think only positive thoughts about myself and life. What we choose to think, what we choose to do, what we choose to say is about creating our life from moment to moment. And we have the freedom of will. We have the ability to make them positive or negative. The third concept, the third principle of transformation has to do with power. I have the power to transform my experiences in life. These first three principles make up what I refer to as the triangle of transformation: responsibility, choice, and power. They sort of form the foundation of transformation. But we have the power at all moments to change our life. We never lose this power. We always have the power. When people sometimes in the program will say, well, you are powerless, the truth is you're extremely powerful. And you never lose this ability, this power that you have. The phrase that I encourage people to say is, I have the power to transform my experiences in life. The power that I have and have always had to change and transform my life is to be found in the thoughts that I create from moment to moment, the words that I say, the emotions that I feel, and the behavior and actions that I generate throughout the day and my lifetime. My power and responsibility for my experiences emanate initially from my thinking. Everything goes back to what we think. It's our thinking that creates our feelings, that dictates our behavior. Sort of the basis of CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, and cognitive psychology. Number 4, my thoughts create all of my experiences, which is what we just talked about. Everything comes down to what you think, your cognition, what you think about. And from that, it goes into what you talk, what you say. And our thoughts, as we know, create how we feel, which dictates our behavior. So everything comes down to us changing how we think. My thoughts create all my experiences. The thoughts I create and think from moment to moment are powerful and are responsible for creating all my beliefs, feelings, actions, and experiences. I am the cause and the matter, not the effect of life. And it is through my creating and thinking my thoughts in the now that I create my feelings, behavior, experiences, and how life occurs to me in the present moment. When I change my negative thoughts about myself to positive ones, my life will change, and my addictive behavior and mental health issues will cease to exist. A very powerful concept. When we change how we think, we have the ability to eliminate addictive behavior and mental health issues from our life. Number 5, principle number 5, my word is powerful and transforms. Words are very powerful in our life. They're very creative. A lot of times people don't really get the creative power that our words have. The expression now goes to what I encourage people to think about and repeat every day. My word is powerful and transforms. What I think and say through my words will determine how I feel and create the trajectory of my actions and behavior, as well as the structure and content of my experiences. My word affects all the domains of my life: my physical body, my health, work, finances, and the relationships with others. My word is where I begin transforming my experiences in life. Learning how to use and take responsibility for my word, for what I speak into existence, is the beginning of and the key to my transformation. While we sometimes are, and when we're learning this, our ability to control our thoughts is a learned process. but we have more control over watching what comes out of our mouth. So for us to pay conscious attention to what we say is important. Louise Hay once said, if you want to get responsible for your life, you have to get responsible for your mouth. Number 6, principle number 6, my power is in the present moment. As we know, the past and the future do not exist. The only thing that is real that has a thing called ontology is the present moment. Our work is to live our life in the present moment. And when we live our life in the present moment, we access what can be referred to as our power to change our life. The phrase that I encourage people to read and to study every day goes as such. My power is in the present moment. The present moment is the only thing that is real. It is all that exists, that has authentic ontology. My past and future do not exist. They never have and never will exist. Only my present has ever existed, living one moment to the next. My power to change and transform my life rests upon being fully conscious and aware of this present moment. Consciously and then unconsciously, being in the present moment is the only way I have access to my power to transform my experiences in life. A very, very powerful concept. The next principle of transformation is extremely powerful and extremely important. It's about forgiveness. Forgiveness restores my power to transform. When we create resentments, when we blame people for things that happen to us, what we're doing is we're trying to give up our responsibility. We're not accepting it. But not being able to forgive and let go keeps us stuck in the past. It keeps us away from living in the present moment, which is where our power exists. So learning how to forgive and let go is extremely, extremely important for us to be able to move on with our life. Forgiveness restores my power to transform. Forgiveness is about giving up and letting go of the past, of allowing myself to move into the present moment, into what is real, where I can access my power of transformation. Remember, there is no one to forgive. I only need to understand and accept that I have been doing the best I could have done at the moment with the knowledge, understanding, and awareness I possess, and take complete responsibility for what I created. Practicing forgiveness for myself is about taking full responsibility for all the experience I created in my life. Number 8 has to do with the concept of commitment. Commitment is transformation. Commitment is being committed and doing the work the way that it was meant to be done and doing it to completion. Commitment is transformation. Changing my life from a negative mindset to a positive one will require commitment to changing my negative thoughts, beliefs, words, feelings, behavior, and experiences. Committing to transforming my life will also require working with other human beings to help me change my thinking and experiences. To transform is to be committed to change, and to be in a state of commitment is transformation. I have the power to transform my life. I have always had the power of transformation. Number 9 has to do with self-love, really the concept of the whole thing. Self-love is the solution to my addictive behavior and mental health concerns. This is the missing point, the missing key in the recovery movement today, and in what I believe the 12-step program. Self-love allows us to start to treat ourselves with respect and love. Self-love is the solution to my addictive behavior and mental health concerns. To transform my life and to end my addictive behavior to mental health problems, I must learn how to respect, approve, accept, and come authentically to love myself just as I am now. This process is simple, but not easy to do. I will need help from others to learn the knowledge of self-love necessary to travel the journey to wisdom. To love myself, I must say and think only positive thoughts about myself and others, and stop saying and thinking negative thoughts about myself and others. The last principle has to do with self-love is the key to happiness. Self-love dictates everything in our life, everything that we've always wanted. Self-love is the key to happiness. When I come to love myself, I will accept, respect, and approve of myself as I am now in the present moment. I will be perfect, whole, and complete. When I come to love myself, I will also be able to love another and be loved by them in return, authentically. Experiencing authentic self-love is also the key to my spirituality. Self-love also allows me to experience my identity and to connect with who I am, my identity. Spirit, source, higher power, and God. Who I am is spirit, source, higher power, God. Self-love is my access to happiness, to true happiness, to my identity, and is that which restores my connection to source, spirit, God. Transformation is made up of these 10 principles, which are to be studied and then ultimately lived. Transformation is the counseling process that I practice here at Enhanced Healing Counseling Program. So if you would like to know more about this process of transformation, you can visit my website at enhancedhealing.com. If you would like to have the document that I use and give to folks to study, you can email me at my email, which is on my website. And you can email me requesting it, and I will email it back to you free of charge. There's no charge for the documents itself. I would like to thank you for taking the moment to listen to this information, and I hope that it has been useful to you. If you or someone you love is struggling with addiction and ready to explore a new path to healing, I invite you to learn more about our transformational counseling program. You don't have to walk this path alone. Recovery begins with a choice to love, a choice to accept a responsibility, and ultimately a choice to transform. Thank you very much.